Greetings, everybody. Wolfie here from inside the Mobile Wolf Den, which is what the bus has been christened as. I decided I wanted to do a thing and do a review on one of those scammy little Facebook heater slash air conditioner things. And so I decided to buy one so you don't have to steal from the wolf pit. At any rate, I got that little thing off of Facebook. Took about 2 weeks to show up. I have it plugged into my 2 kilowatt hour UD Power S2400 power pack that I had purchased. This was also a Facebook thing that I'd purchased. This has actually been quite good and performed admirably on my little trip around Lake Michigan. Doing this test out here in part because what I can do with this is track how much power I'm drawing in watts. So a little bit onto this, and I have my little handy dandy thermometer thing. Yeah, it's wrapped up in paper because the handle's got sticky plastic problem. So at any rate, here's this little thing. They claim that it heats and cools. Now, I did plug it in for a couple of minutes when I first got it a few days ago, and it does seem like it does something. So we're going to see what it does. Now, trust me, I have no illusions that this thing is going to cool this bus off. It's a 1500 watt thing at 110 volts. And they say 50 hertz, although obviously in the US we are 60. So what we will do is turn this thing on. It is on. Gonna go to cold. See, it's doing hot air. We want cold air. There. So now we're going to drop the temperature down as far as it will let me. So that is 16 degrees Celsius. We're going to let it run a minute so it can push the cold air out or the hot air out that it started to initially push. Kind of give an idea. Turn this little gadget on. And right now, directly under it, we are looking at 88 degrees. I want to say it's roughly 90 degrees inside the bus right now. So we're going to let it run a few minutes. I mean, my hand is under it, and the whisper of air that it is pushing out. This is why I have no illusions that this is going to do anything more than be a purely very personal space item. They advertise this thing as useful for use in like a sleeper cab of a truck. I'm gonna tell you right now, no, I don't care how cold this thing gets. It ain't moving enough air to cool off a sleeper cab, let alone a bus. So pushing this directly underneath where air is coming out. Right now it's actually saying it's 90. I mean, I will say it feels a little cool. I would not call this cold by any stretch. And while that's sitting here doing its thing, come back over to this. And interestingly enough, it's not hardly pulling any power. And it says it's rated for 1500 watts. but we're not pulling enough for this thing to read, so that should give you an idea of actually how little power this thing is actually using. I'd say you'd be lucky if this thing is pulling more than a couple of watts. It's allegedly a one of those ceramic semiconductor cooling units, which those things are not efficient. Yeah, and I mean, it's cooler than ambient. But I don't know if that's readable. I'm shining it directly into the exhaust of this thing, and we're still pushing out pretty much room temperature air. And that's gone down slightly. So this thing was roughly 150 bucks. And what I will say about this in this short little test, this is not a thing that you're going to want to buy, obviously. So if anybody is on the fence seeing these in their Facebook doom scrolling, pass. Pass on this and anything that looks like it, because this thing is not pushing out nothing. It actually does a good job of making heat, but we're not making any measurable cool air out of this thing. At any rate, that's all I got for this little impromptu review of one of the Facebook scammy things. Like I said, I'm not surprised at this result. I was curious, and I thought, well, hey, if it's actually true, maybe it's useful for something. I would say, don't buy this. Until next time, talk at you later.